evening, good almost afternoon. Will staff please confirm quorum?
President Huston.
Here.
Vice President Dorman.
Here.
Director Winnick.
Here.
Director Solis.
Here.
Director Prince.
Here.
Director Arce.
Here.
Director Gross.
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you. A quorum is present. We will proceed. The February 12th, 2026 regular meeting of Strategic Housing Finance Corporation of Travis County is now called to order at 11:24 a.m. We will now move to citizen communication. Do we have anyone wishing to address the board?
Do not.
Seeing no registered speakers, we will close citizen communication and move to administrative items. The first administrative item is committee assignments. As president, I am announcing the committee appointments for the coming term. These assignments reflect the preferences of each of you shared along with the effort to balance continuity and leadership across the committees. Under the Real Estate Committee, the appointed members are Director Altamirano, Director Groves, and myself. I will serve as chair of the Real Estate Committee. Under Finance and Administration, the appointed members are Past President Winnick, Director Arce, and Director Groves. Past President Winnick will serve as chair. Under LIMCO, the appointed members are Director Dorman, Past President Winnick, and myself. Director Dorman will serve as chair. Under Tenant Affairs, the appointed members are Director Arce, Director Prince, Past President Winnick. Director Arce will serve as chair. As a part of our governance work this year, each committee will work with our consultant, Eileen Garcia, with nonprofit advisors to clarify committee scope, define responsibilities, and develop committee charters. This will ensure that our committee structure supports the board's strategic priorities. I will ask each committee to convene separately to determine your meeting schedules and a cadence that works best for your members. If circumstances change and anyone needs to revisit their committee assignments, please reach out to me directly and we will work through it. And thank you. We will now move to the director's report.
Excellent, directors. We, I think, gave you a preview of these numbers last month for our year-end 12/31. We ended the year in a strong cash position with over $25 million on hand, and not including our housing production fund or portfolio fund, with 28 and a half months of operating cash available. We did receive $2.67 million in revenue in December in a combination of developer fees and bond issuer fees. While we had been lagging on actual revenue to budgeted, because of those receipts, we ended the year at 107% of our total budgeted revenue and came in under budget on expenditures at a little over 87%. I talked about our cash. Most of that is represented in our net assets. So we ended the year with over $26 million in net assets. One thing that Director Adams has provided for us is we're sort of tracking the rhythm of revenue over multiple years now. We have an N of 2. You see here, of course, and this excludes the sale and refinance income that, of course, are quite significant. But see that it is not an even line, and had some peak in December last year, but certainly greater this year, but also see some cycles in terms of sort of March, June, October, around the end of quarters. Any questions on the finances? Excellent. All right, quickly, we'll remind you of a few calendar items. We do have property visits scheduled for next Tuesday at 11, I believe. If you are interested, please reach out to Jenny, because we want to make sure that we don't have quorum, but would be happy to have you join us. A reminder that we have, starting next month, shifted our regular board meetings to the first Thursday of the month and 1:30 p.m. From the 11 o'clock time. The April meeting is shown. Reminder that the Housing Work Summit is coming up. I'm happy to have board members attend. Reach out to Jenny again. And since we last spoke, we have confirmed our dates for the briefing at the Commissioners Court, with the first one being April 30th. The fall one is scheduled for October 22nd. You may have noticed that we've begun sending out sort of more of a bulletin format to try to reduce the number of individual emails that you are getting. Let us know how that is working for you, if there's something you'd like us to include. And then I will just remind you that I think there are a couple of conflict of interest forms outstanding, so you will know if Jenny chases you down after the meeting. That concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
Chair recognizes Past President Winning.
I am just wondering what the property visits are, where the destinations are, which properties. You can tell me after the meeting.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Chair recognizes Director Portman.
Thank you. April 2nd for our regular board meeting, should that be the 12th?
We moved it up a week.
First Thursday.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. Just to clarify, thanks.
Any further questions or comments for Director Gray? Executive Director Gray. All right, thank you. We will now move forward to the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes approval of the January 8th, 2026 regular meeting minutes and the resolution amending authorized representatives for the organization's TexPool account. Is there any item a director would like removed from the consent agenda? If none, is there any objection to approving items on consent agenda? There being no objections, item VA and BA are adopted by unanimous consent. The next item is the resolution SHFC 2026-7, accepting the full year 2024 independent auditor's report. The chair recognizes Katie Adams, Director of Finance and Administration, for the presentation.
Good morning.
Morning.
We have on the line Lawson Bermuda with Baker Tilly, who did do the led the field work for the audit of fiscal year 2024. We have some slides prepared if there are any questions, but there will be some time to ask questions directly of Mr. Bermuda as well. I would love to turn it over to you, Lawson, to present the financial statements and the report for our audit of fiscal year 24 to the board.
Yep. Thank you very much, Katie. As Katie mentioned, my name is Lawson Bermuda. I'm manager at Baker Tilly out of our Eau Claire, Wisconsin office, and here to present the 2024 audit results. So I'm going to share my screen here, if that's all right. And is there a way that I'll be able to share my screen through?
We will take a look at those permissions and see if we can get that organized. Apologies there.
But Wendy, who is the audit principal, is unfortunately unable to join us here for the meeting. She had a trip up snowmobiling up in Northwoods, Wisconsin this week, so might be a little unfamiliar territory down there. And I'm getting that I do not have access to share, or sharing is disabled if the other participant is sharing.
Oh, do we have to stop sharing for him to start?
I think that might be it.
Oh, this one? Sorry, it's me. It's me, Lawson.
You're the problem. It's you.
Yeah, I got it.
I got it too.
Yeah. That's for the president. She counts.
All right, Lawson, you should be good to go.
Okay. All right. And are you able to see? Okay, perfect.
You sure are.
Yes.
All right. Well, diving right in here, I'd like to first start by thanking Katie and the rest of the staff at Strategic Housing with their assistance that we navigate through the audit this year. Just knowing that navigating a first-year audit always comes with kind of additional challenges with just kind of each other understanding the environment of the organization and the processes, but it's been our pleasure to work with Katie and the staff. And jumping into an overview, we'll go over the engagement team, audit results, and our opinion, required communication, and then just a little high-level overview of the statement of revenues and expenses this year. And a lot of this can be found in the reporting and insights document that was prepared as well. And this is just kind of summarize some key points within there. So Wendy is the audit principal, and then I was kind of the day-to-day manager navigating through the audit along with various other individuals on our team working through items. Jumping right into the audit results here. So audit was conducted as planned and previously communicated with cooperation received from all members of management. Financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with US GAAP, and all appropriate disclosures have been reflected within. Looking at kind of our findings, so there was one unrecorded audit adjustment, 3 material journal entries, and a restatement of the December 31st, 2023 net position that I'll dive into further here on the next slide, and then a material weakness identified over the financial statement close process, which will be touched on a little bit later, along with the adverse opinion on the discreetly presented component unit. As you've seen in your past reports, it was presented as a qualified opinion, but just as we dove in a little farther on AICPA guidance for state and local governments, the admissions kind of more appropriately fit into their definition of an adverse opinion, just due to the material amount of it. So, and that discreetly presented unit for Colorado Creek is a result of the guarantees that are unique to the project. And as a result, we were unable to kind of gain additional assurance to change that opinion or change that component unit classification this year. But we'll continue to work with Katie and the team to evaluate year over year, and when the guarantees within the agreement are fulfilled, voided, or canceled. But I know how the frustrations that can come with that adverse opinion, given that it's out of the control that Colorado Creek doesn't have audited financial statements to present that are for 2024 and up to date. But given the unmodified opinion on the primary operations and opinion unit, fleet readers should be assured.
And Lawson, I'd love to anchor kind of what you just talked through. In the board book, you guys may have noticed the audit report did have a split opinion. Strategic's general business activities received an unmodified opinion, whereas our component units received the adverse opinion that Lawson is referencing here. What he's indicating is that the reason that the adverse opinion was issued for the component units is that the financials for the component unit, we only have one, were not available. We would have needed the audited financials from that singular component unit, Colorado Creek, for fiscal year 24. they're still working on completing fiscal year 21. And so that's kind of what's going on there. Please continue, Lawson.
Yeah, thank you, Katie. And, like I mentioned, we'll just continue to try and navigate the situation as we can each year. But now diving into the couple of areas, starting from the top is that uncorrected financial misstatement, which are misstatements that are identified that are over our trivial pass amount, but under materiality that aren't required to be adjustments that are made. And this top one stems from a 2021 prepayment from Boyce Palmer that was paid for bond fees through December 2028. And at that time, all of the revenue was recognized. But given that the bond fees are due annually, a portion of that amount in 2021 should have been recognized as recorded as unearned revenue, and then each year a portion of that revenue is recognized through 2028. So each year through then, that PAGI or uncorrected misstatement will just continue to show up and then just slightly decrease until we get to the point that it's no longer, it's under a trivial threshold, or that net position balance is corrected. So really just a timing issue there. And moving into our materially corrected misstatements throughout the audit. That first one there related to adjustments in the investment in the joint venture. That's related to that South Park Ranch fractional ownership that should be adjusted each year based on equity method of accounting and allocating net gains and loss of the project against that investment balance. Moving into the second misstatement, and this is a result of the timing and recognition of revenue that was recognized in 2024, but should have been related in 2023. So as we dove into our procedures, it was noted that it seems that as revenue was received, it was always recognized generally in that period. But for a lot of the payments received, it related to the prior year. So it comes down to a timing difference where that revenue is still being recognized just about a year too late. So I think moving forward, just looking to kind of gain the processes and working through to be able to identify that revenue and booking back as part of the audit. And that is what led us.
Sorry, Lawson, I'd love to clarify also. We have been aware of some of the timing issues associated with our revenue. What we have been learning throughout last year is that typically revenue is received by Strategic in the year after it is earned. And so Lawson is going through some of the misstatements on our audit, or misstatements because they were assigned to the wrong fiscal year. Ideally, revenue is recorded in the year in which it is earned, and there are several kind of pieces of that timing puzzle that we're working on getting all aligned, but all of the most of the misstatements on the audit are associated with that kind of timing challenge that we've experienced.
Yes, thank you. And that last one right there is just the same thing, just looking through the 2025 receipts, just noting fees that should have been related to 2024 as well. And that's where we got that restatement in the beginning balance. So if you look at the statement of revenues and expenses, you'll see an error correction down towards the net position, beginning of year net position, and really that is related to that timing issue that Katie discussed. And our responsibilities as your auditor is planning and performing the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether financial statements are free from material misstatement. So reasonable assurance is a high level of assurance, assessing the risks of material misstatements of the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error. Included in that assessment is the consideration of the organization's internal control over financial reporting. So we're performing appropriate procedures based upon our risk assessment, evaluating the appropriateness of the accounting policies used and reasonableness of significant accounting estimates made by management, and then performing an audit with standards for financial audits contained in governmental accounting standards. And then the responsibilities of management include the appropriateness and quality of accounting policies and practices, fair presentation of the financial statements, and their assessment of going concern. And moving into that are our significant risks of material misstatement. This isn't unique to strategic housing. This is kind of our standard risks that we identified and assess, and in our professional judgment require that special audit consideration, and is common throughout the industry and generally everywhere that we audit. These are just our significant risks areas, which are management override of controls and improper revenue recognition due to fraud. And we have our approach and our conclusions on those significant risks within there.
And Lawson, it looked like your conclusion was that the risk areas identified did not interfere with your ability to issue that unmodified opinion. These are potential risk areas that exist in many organizations, as you're saying, but are not ones that you found were, currently going on in Strategic's financials. Is that accurate? Great.
Yeah, that is accurate. Yeah. And moving in, we then have our areas of emphasis, which are areas that don't meet the definition of significant risk, but just based on the identified areas and our specific awareness just require a unique audit response. So below is a listing of areas that we identified as key areas as part of the audit. So consideration of fraud risks, internal control over financial reporting, cash and investments, classification of accounts receivable, revenue recognition, existence and accuracy of payroll, other expenses, grants payable, and then proper classification of net position. So really just some major audit areas as part of the financial statements.
And many of these areas, I believe, Lawson, do touch on kind of the timing and recognition issues that we were seeing.
Yeah, so especially that revenue recognition for the bond fees, management fees, and developer fees. I think as we dug in and kind of looked into the agreements, it seemed that these should have been booked back, and that revenue should be trailing that when that service is performed, which would be if it's 2025, a lot of that would be 2024.
Great, thank you.
And then there was two new accounting policies that were adopted and implemented this year. GASB 100, which is related to accounting changes and error corrections. Really, this is just related to the presentation of the financial statements and changes in disclosures of the financial statements related to changes such as the restatement. And then GASB 101 is related to compensated absences, clarification of the rules of accruing compensated absences. It's just provided clear guidance on what is recognized as a liability. Neither of these had a material effect to the financial statements at all. And then within our other communications, we noticed no significant unusual transactions, no significant difficulties or disagreements with management. All related party transactions were disposed. no non-compliance with laws and regulations, no fraud identified. All disclosures are neutral, consistent, and clear. Everything is outlined within that management representation letter, and we have no departures from auditor's standard report other than that adverse opinion noted for the component unit. And this slide just represents our conclusions of independence. So we're not aware of any relationship between Baker Tilly and strategic housing that, in our opinion, may reasonably thought to bear on our independence. And this just states our other non-attest services performed. And this slide kind of covers the material weaknesses and our assessment over the internal controls. So our review over internal controls is not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the controls, and we don't express an opinion on the controls of the organization. Our purpose is used as a basis for designing audit procedures in order to express an opinion on the financial statements. So a material weakness is a deficiency that leads us to the conclusion that there is a reasonable possibility that a misstatement in the financial statements will not be prevented or detected and corrected on a timely basis. And the one we identified was on the financial statement close process. So this will be noted year over year, just with our auditor preparation of the financial statements. As long as we do prepare the financial statements, this will be reported as a material weakness, but we also added notes this year related to the material journal entries along with the restatement. And then
a lot of those misstatements again are associated with timing issues that have been identified.
Correct. And a significant deficiency in internal control is less severe than a material weakness that yet important enough to merit attention by those charges governed. We didn't identify any kind of significant deficiencies in controls. And here's just the last slide I wanted to touch on, is just kind of looking at high level of the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position and comparing to last year. Won't be a direct comparison, especially with the Rosemont apartments being included in that operations in 2023 financial statements. But looking at 2024, looking healthy with $7.6 million increase in net position that is mainly related to that sales and refinance distribution of $7.5 million. But when looking at the operation income and loss, you'll see a loss this year. This is a bit misleading, or not misleading, but in the sense of that error correction that was identified can be a piece of result of this not showing up as operating income this year. So if that revenue was recognized when recorded, pulling out a significant piece of that fee revenue and putting it back into 2023 is the main cause there, and likely that there might be identified 2025 revenue that needs to be booked back in 2024. So really just a timing difference here related to that. And this last slide here is just a slide for resources on our Baker Tilly live site for the board of directors in case there's any updates that may be relevant to strategic housing, which I can send out to Katie after this. But that concludes presentation of the audit report and the audit results. I appreciate all of your time and going through this, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do directors have any questions on this item? Director Dorman.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Remuda and Ms. Adams. So I'm trying to get some more flesh on the bone of this adverse opinion because, okay, my understanding is we have one component unit, one discretely presented component unit, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Nothing has changed about this component unit from last year to this year, correct?
That is correct.
So your research or your opinion found that this year it deserves an adverse opinion where previous years it did not. Has something changed?
And there wasn't anything that changed in particular about that component unit. I think it was just our judgment call as we researched this, as every qualified opinion that we issue kind of goes through an additional quality check and kind of through guidance and going through some AICPA guidance for state and local governments. We just came to the conclusion that that omission more appropriately resulted in, kind of fell in the bucket of the definition of an adverse opinion based on their direct language, just with the amount that is of those numbers just being material was one piece of it that kind of led us to that determination that it's that missing information would have a material effect on the financial statements.
Okay, thank you. And then a couple of follow-ups. And I asked my first question because the management letter under financial statements sub 2, excuse me, says the financial statements referred to above do not fairly present in conformity with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. I just want to be clear because that's something we're signing, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So
that is correct.
As a director who is a layperson, to me, to say we're signing something, I just want to make sure it's that one unit. It's a judgment call of you as our auditor.
Yes, that is correct. So I'd have to go back and look at that management representation letter a little bit more closely. I don't. I'd have to look whether that states the adverse opinion is just the result of that accounting principles. Yes. Generally accepted. So I hope that management rep letter kind of defines that the reason for it is really directly related to that adverse opinion on just the presented component unit.
Okay, well, I wanted to make sure that I was reading it correctly because it has a lot of meat in the middle of that paragraph, and then the last sentence is an unmodified opinion has been issued on the business type activities, but I just want to make sure what we're talking about. And then you said a couple of times, and Ms. Adams did too, that we're going to be working through this issue of Colorado Creek not having their financials to give us, which causes us to have the less than clean opinion. So what is the suggestion on how to handle that? Because we don't really have control over that.
Yeah, and I think. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and I think talking with Katie, the kind of one of the options was canceling the guarantees that are within there. I believe there was a development guarantee along with an operating guarantee that was a little bit more unique to that specific Colorado Creek from the others that had that justification. So I think eliminating those guarantees should be able to get us closer to that point of having that clean issue and having Colorado Creek fall into that blended component unit that is kind of outlined as the rest of them in the financial statements.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it for me, thanks.
May I add a comment or two? So I think as the directors are aware, we as staff this year have been working toward, I think, being much more cognizant and tracking more closely sort of all of the due diligence, et cetera, of all of our partnerships. These partnerships in particular have been of interest to staff and have been engaged in a concerted effort. In addition to the possibility of getting the developer partner to, and therefore investor, to waive the guarantees, because really the guarantee is coming from the LLC that we own, right, which doesn't really have assets. There is a time limit on them. So, it is a completion guarantee, and then it's from time of conversion, if I'm not mistaken. We have spent some time on it. We've not yet reached that milestone, but there is presumably also a time at which the guarantees naturally burn off. So we will be looking at all of those options. Obviously, the most straightforward one would be, hey, let's get that 24 audit done. But we are looking at other options.
Thank you.
You want to, Director Gross?
Yeah, just last question on that. If we were to receive the audit, would there be the ability to amend and restate this audit, or are we just talking going forward? That's the path toward getting a clean opinion.
I think that it would be the path forward to getting a clean opinion. I would have to just consult with Wendy, the audit principal, whether there's any direction on if we're able to kind of go back and amend that opinion for a clean opinion. I can't confidently say one way or the other if that's an option, but it can definitely be something that we research into and look into.
We were, on strategic staff side, we were definitely assuming that it would be something that happens moving forward. It is typically tricky to adjust an audit once it is finalized, accepted, that is sort of saying, here are your financials for that year. So it is something where we were weighing, we're a little late on trying to accept this 2024 audit because we've been exploring possibilities to adjust that opinion. Unfortunately, there's not action that we're really able to take this year even. So it is an opinion that we're expecting is carried until we are able to, receive the necessary materials from that component unit, or otherwise determine that it is not a true component unit and shouldn't be reflected in that way.
And last question, do you see any adverse impact to strategic on the whole and receiving that opinion on that component unit?
That's a great question, Lawson. I sure would be interested in your feedback, but I'd love to start. I think strategic, because of our unique position, there's not an immediate obstacle or issue that it creates. We're not, receiving grant funding or any other external parties that really are looking at our financials. What I anticipate is that as we, pursue new deals, folks may ask for our financials. They may see, the split opinion and inquire about it. We'll be happy to, kind of chat through it with them, let them know, but we do not believe that there are any immediate consequences, negative impacts, et cetera, as a result of this opinion. Lawson, if you disagree, I'd love to know.
Yeah, Katie, I agree with your analysis there. And really, if it comes to if you start looking for those federal grants, they might have additional questions, but just given the unique situation of this and having that split opinion, I believe that it is something that is a deeper conversation on that level for when you dive in there. But no, I don't see any immediate impact on strategic housing.
Thank you.
Past Vice President Winnick.
Thank you. First, I just want to say, really appreciate staff's clarifying along the way what the amount of material and thorough transparency provided by our auditor, and I appreciate that too. I have two questions. My first question, does FNA have anything they wish to say, or have they deliberated on the points that we're talking about here?
Thank you for that question. As the senior member on FNA, along with my colleague, Director Dorman, we did get to discuss this ahead of the board and have had a few chats about it. I would want to make sure that the board understands where it has levers itself and where we don't have great levers. And so in addressing the material weakness on revenue recognition and time value and temporal mismatch, our only lever is to say, let's address that, Madam Executive Directors of your team. And that future FNA can converse about that. That is within our reach. And I think everybody understands it's within our reach and progress will be made. That is a clear lever where we have agency. My understanding, and this is what was going to be my question in the open session, so now that you've given me the floor, thank you, Madam President. Through the question, thank you, Past President, I want to make sure we understand this. We don't have full control in eliminating this issue. Time potentially has full control, but that means future versions of us, future vintages might still have to deal with it. And while there are different strategies at play, et cetera, that might resolve this, I wanted everybody to know that it would be unreasonable to say to staff, fix it this year. Like, I think they will try, but there are some tools available, but it is not an outcome unlike the revenue recognition issue and some of the other things discussed. It's fully in our control for the obvious reasons that there's a counterparty that has a set of competencies and behavior. I hope I've represented that correctly from both my understanding of our conversations and the materials that we receive in preparation. That's the only thing I want folks to highlight, that we may be here again through no lack, not because of lack of effort or care, but because the counterparty in the partnership has a certain pace and way of doing things. And I think that is a little frustrating. I want to say, though, and I think some of us that have been on the board longer, this issue has always been there. And so it's when Ms. Adams said, "Oh, here's kind of where the audit is going," and there are some issues that she may recall. I was like, expletives, component units, because it's kind of been there, and so the fresh eyes have given us information, and we are going to potentially act on it today. Thank you.
Thank you. My second question was actually to staff, and it has to do with the report of Baker Tilly on page 6 about internal control matters, which I heard the high-level overview. You feel satisfied with the internal controls. Just the identification of the P-card purchases, and in order to be transparent to the public, having seen that in writing, I just wonder if we could address what the rectification will look like.
And that question you indicated was directed at staff?
Both.
Okay. As far as the P card policy, P card is short for purchasing cards. In my head, I call it a credit card policy. It has been identified by staff that this is something that we need. We now have an official recommendation from the auditors. It's something that we hope to bring to the board quite soon, and should be an easy resolution. Currently, credit card policies are managed under our procurement policy that was passed last year. We are interested in expanding that to create some additional protocols. Lawson, I don't know if you want to speak to what Baker Tilly might specifically be recommending here. Does that seem to cover it?
Yeah, I think what you described there covers it. Really just a formalized process and the specific credit cards.
Great.
And just for staff, and that does seem feasible in the next year?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That policy,
Just
yes.
wanted to pin that down. Thank
No,
you
thank
so
you.
much. Okay.
Any further questions? Is there a motion?
I move approval of this item.
Yes.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution SHFC 2026-7 accepting full year 2024 independent auditor's report. The chair opens up the floor for discussion. Does anyone have any comments? Director Altamont?
Madam President, this comment is mostly for posterity's sake for the public. Typically, I think all of us would be concerned, or all of us that have experience in these matters, concerned about accepting the audit with some of the language in the communications to us. But for future versions of the public that may be trying to understand what's going on, this is part of our process of cleaning up our books now that we are an independent entity and have the capacity to better examine what we've been up to, what do we have, and who our partnerships are. There are some things we can address that are within our control. There are some things that are not fully in our control, but we are still going to try and address. I don't know what will happen in terms of the next audit, where we will be, and if some of the scary language will be removed. But I do think it is important to recognize that things getting scarier are in some ways indicative of us doing our job. And what I would hope the public understands in the future is that in the past, our work was part of examining a different entity. And now we are being able to more carefully look at just us. And so the evolution of what the issues are and better discovery about potential issues is to be expected. My hope is that this board, future boards, the staff, future staff, work to, over time, address them, but most importantly, put the policies in place so that we don't necessarily find ourselves in these kinds of situations. And those are policies that are board level in some ways, about how we screen partnerships, who we do deals with, how do we monitor them, how do we monitor our books. We've recently had a presentation from an external consultant pointing out that this is one of our most important duties, to be able to represent to ourselves and the public that are in the way that normal people talk. Our books are not cooked, right? And so our books are definitely not cooked. We are very, very much focused on making sure that our books have integrity and that we have policies to ensure that. There are some things we understand we need to work on, and I'm certain almost all of them we're going to work on and deliver this year. There's one thing that's not fully in our control. I think we all are very well aware of it. We're going to try our best there, but I think we can, in accepting this, represent to the public, we are doing our job of trying to mine the books at the highest level. And in some ways, our ability to accept and understand the scary sounding language is part of the process of cleaning things up. I will be voting for this item, and I hope you will too.
Thank you, Director. Any further discussion? Past President Winning.
Yeah, I just really want to also thank staff for the collaboration with Baker Tilly and Baker Tilly for being very direct in calling out this inconsistency. And I do think that, to echo the words of my colleague, Director Altamirano, as we try to do better and get more rigorous, it starts with calling something out. And so I really appreciate that you called that out. I know the language is a little concerning, and as we move forward, the fact that we continue to address it and attempt to use, actually, I can see where we could use that language as leverage with this particular partner. So thank you. I just want to say I appreciate the rigor, I appreciate calling it out, and I appreciate the languaging, even though it's a little scary.
Any further discussion? Great. Seeing none, we will proceed to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous. The motion carries. Resolution SHFC 2026-7 is adopted. The next item.
Thank you so much. I'd love to let Lawson go. Lawson, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. I look forward to working with you guys here coming up for the 2025 audit. And, I'm always an email or a phone call away. So my information's in that presentation, and feel free to reach out with any questions. And I look forward to collaborating here for next year. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
The next item is Resolution SHFC 2026-8, authorizing staff to engage Baker Tilly as the corporation's independent auditor for the full year 2025. The chair recognizes Katie Adams, Director of Finance and Administration, for the presentation.
Katie Adams is having a bit of trouble with the slides. Here I am.
You're frozen. Oh.
Apologies.
I bet you could ad-lib this one if you want to, and I can work on the slides while you go.
Good afternoon. In 2025, Strategic issued an RFP to select an independent auditor. As you all know and have just had reinforced, the selection for that RFP was Baker Tilly. We are currently recommending that we re-engage with Baker Tilly for the audit of fiscal year 25, which takes place in calendar year 2026. I think we just want to get to presenter view and then we're good.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. The quote for Baker Tilly came in within our budgeted amount. There is a lot of, initial legwork, document preparation, etc. When you first engage with a new auditing firm, and having just recently completed that with Baker Tilly, we would love to re-engage their services and expertise. This item proposes that.
Thank you, Katie. Do directors have questions on this item? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I would adoption of this item, Madam President.
Second. Any seconds?
It has been moved and seconded and authorize staff to engage Baker Tilly as independent auditor for full year 2025. Is there discussion? Director Altamirano.
Madam President, to summarize what we heard at FNA, again reporting as a senior member of the committee, in brief, Baker Tilly's pricing was competitive. We have the funds. They tell it like it is. We just heard it. They are a competent team. They work well with the staff. So we feel very comfortable continuing with the service.
Any further discussion? We will proceed to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Resolution SHFC 2026-8 is adopted. The next item is resolution approving updates to the term sheet for the Workforce Housing Partnership projects, incorporating certain tenant protection policies. The chair recognizes Jim Ward, Director of Planning and External Affairs, for the presentation.
Good afternoon, directors. My name is Jim Ward, Director of Planning and External Affairs. And yes, I would like to talk with you this afternoon about our term sheets. And so first, just kind of wanted to set some framework for this discussion. So our term sheets are intended to establish threshold requirements for our development partners. We have a strategic, a LIHTC or a 4%, a 9% term sheet, and then a workforce term sheet, a mixed income term sheet. And so the term sheets in both cases communicate partnership fee structures. They allow our development partners to kind of assess the quality of their partnership and whether or not they would like to pursue a partnership with strategic. And so in addition to the fee structure, we also use our term sheets to communicate our board priorities, such as tenant protections, access to services, and transportation and other priorities of the board. And so this particular revision to our workforce term sheets comes in response to a prior board resolution, SHFC 2025-40, which directed staff, amongst other things, to return to the board with certain tenant protections incorporated into our workforce term sheets, as well as engaging with our peer entities, that is Austin Housing Finance Corporation, the Housing Authority of Travis County, and the Housing Authority of the City of Boston, et cetera, to develop shared threshold criteria over the next 12 months. And we will be bringing back updates to the board over the calendar year 2026. I want to just point out that this is part of a larger effort that we were already engaged in prior to the board resolution 2025-40. It is in response and incorporates in some ways, there's a guest there, that the UT Law Housing Policy Clinic's tax-exempt private partnership report that was released in October of 2025. That report kind of gave some framework for the revisions that we're proposing with this term sheet review, and this is something that we're going to review annually. Applicability for. This is my first time using this clicker. So this would apply to all future workforce or mixed income partnerships, any MOU that we enter into moving forward, whether that be a new partnership or a partnership with an MOU that has expired, that must be renegotiated. These terms would apply to those developments. And so one of the things that we did as part of this process was review kind of with our peer entities what their response to the TEP report was specifically, but and based on our analysis that we presented to the board in November of 2025, kind of what are things that folks are going to commit to kind of more urgently or more quickly, and so the revisions that we're proposing are in line with our peer entities. In other words, not everyone in the market at this point has adopted these requirements for their development partners, but they are on the radar of all of the entities. In addition, we took this to the real estate committee and reviewed the financial impact of these term sheet revisions on sample workforce projects. using their supplied pro formas and found that there was really no significant impact to their net operating income or debt service coverage ratio. And so really quickly, kind of what the proposed changes are. This is the extent of the changes proposed to the term sheets. So we are I think we think it's important to disclose fees up front prior to applicants submitting their applications and presumably an application fee. And so we would require our development partners to disclose those both mandatory and optional recurring fees to prospective tenants. We additionally would cap upfront applicant fees at $100 per household. And limit late fees charged to residents to 5% of the tenant's portion of the rent. So if they are on a housing choice voucher and their rent is $250 a month, it would be a maximum of I guess $12.50 as a late fee. So and I think that kind of covers the extent of the term sheet revisions. Staff do recommend approval of Resolution 2026-09, but that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Do any directors have any questions? Director Dorman.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. On your last bullet about the late fees, the red line says limited to 5% of the tenant's portion of the rent or 5% of the outstanding non-rent balance. What does that mean in
Yeah, so in the instance that there are fines levied against a tenant, let's say, for example, there was a lease violation for trash left on the balcony, right? Like the idea is that we would it would prevent developer partners from charging extreme or large penalties to tenants, and then using those. The concern there being that those late fees would or fees would stack and then be used as basis for an eviction proceeding.
Okay, so the late fees are limited to 5% of the tenant's portion of the rent, and the penalty payments are
Similarly.
limited to 5% of the outstanding or late fees on. I don't know. I guess it makes sense to reckon. I'm good with that. I was just trying to figure it out in my own mind. Like it's not. It's an either or. It's not the lesser of.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that per
The intent
month?
is to capture. So late fees are regulated by state law, and they are capped at a percentage per month after based on the lease agreement. So state laws caps, I believe, at 10%, and certain properties can't exceed 10%, but they're not generally in our portfolio.
But we're capping at 5%.
We are capping it at 5%. That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Director Arthur.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Is there a reason why, just for curiosity, why we're doing it off of the tenant's portion and not off of base rent?
Yes, so the TEP report, the UT Law report, that was actually one of their recommendations, was basing it on the tenant's portion of the rent, because again, in a scenario where you have a family that is on a housing choice voucher, maybe the tenant portion of the rent is $250 a month, and the rent itself is $1,800 a month. 5% of $250 versus 5% of $1,850 is a significant burden for that household. So the intent is to lessen the burden that residents are experiencing when they are late on their rent payments.
I wonder what impact that would have on delinquency.
On delinquency?
Right.
Sure.
I mean, I get both sides. So, okay, that's it.
I can add a comment to that. We didn't investigate a trend on what it would have to do with delinquency, but when we looked at it from a capped rate perspective on how much it would reduce fees by, we did look at the applicant fees and the late fees and kind of ran that. And I think
Correct. We did not adjust the percentage of units that would be subject to a late fee. We simply adjusted the late fees imposed as part of their pro forma. So that would not address Director Arce's point. And I think it might be a little bit challenging with the sample size that we have of mixed income projects to really get a good grasp on what impact it might have on delinquencies. I would point out that we are planning and do review our term sheets annually, and so there would be subsequent, revisions to this document that if we determine that things are kind of having unintended consequences, we could revisit.
Yeah. There might be impact there.
Yeah. It's a great point.
Dr. Prince.
I think that's a wonderful idea because excessive late fees are a big contributor to homelessness. A lot of people may be able to come up with the late rent, but with the late fees, they can't come up with that, and then they get evicted and then they get thrown out. So I think that's awesome.
Any further questions? Hearing none. Is there a motion?
I move adoption of this item.
Is there a second? You gotta be faster. You gotta be faster. That's when President winning seconds. It has been moved and seconded to approve updates to the workforce housing term sheet. Is there discussion?
Quick recap from REC. If you recall, in 2025-40, the strategy we have hatched by Mr. Ward is we are going to go step by step at having more, I will say, aggressive tenant protections so that we are lifting the floor together as a community as opposed to immediately becoming an outlier and, as someone with experience, sort of being circumvented through deal flow. And so if you remember, that our system is sort of broken out into 3 tiers.
Correct.
And we are going to continue working. This is a template of, I think, how we're going to do it. And I think what we're going to do is communicate, now we did this, what else can we do? Internally, also, a template for how we're going to do it is we want to check the impact on our ability to make deals, because if there are no units or it blows up the economics of a project, et cetera, well then, we cannot serve our mission if we can't build units. And so we have to balance things out rigorously. I feel very comfortable about these. I believe there are some folks in the quote-unquote roundtable or of our sister agencies that may be hemming and hawing or not so sure. I hope that our clear action on this will get them to the table, because these are easy wins that do not distort project economics significantly, but can make a real difference, particularly for the lowest and most income and most vulnerable people in the segment we serve. It is a sober initial move.
Any further discussion? Dr. Winnick.
Yeah, this is for staff. So 2 things. Just one, for the benefit of the full board, who are not all members of REC, could you just flesh out a little bit what you feel like the temperature is at the round table, and are there other leaders than ourselves, and if you could name them, and then I have a second question. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. So what Director Wendy is referencing, of course, is the what we are now calling the Housing Finance Roundtable, because there are PHAs and their public facility corporations represented, or public housing authorities and their corporations represented in those discussions. And so I would say that the temperature there has been warm. We have solid participation from the majority of the public entities in the county that we would look to participate in such a discussion. We have gotten verbal commitments from multiple to incorporate similar, not identical provisions in their deal terms. However, to Director Altamirano's point, we are kind of leading the charge, as it were, locally. I think Austin Housing Finance Corporation is doing a tremendous job. They're working within the, of course, in the city context, but are also really active at the roundtable, and so we're grateful for their participation as well. But yeah, I think I've been actually really encouraged by the climate of the roundtables, and so.
Did you want us to let you know the entities that are participating there? Was that one of your questions?
Or those that stand out as leaders, co-leaders in this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say everyone contributes, and certainly in their own way within the with the context of what they're able to contribute. But that, for context, is Austin Housing Finance Corporation, the Housing Authority of the City of Austin, of course, or I think they're now going by AHA. I don't know if
Austin
we're
Housing Authority.
Austin Housing
Are
Authority.
they really?
Yeah.
So anyway, the Housing Authority of Travis County, Travis County Housing Finance Corporation, and their the affiliated corporations there with those entities.
Thank you. Any further?
Yeah, I had a second question,
go ahead.
sorry. And the second question is just about this incremental approach we're using. I love the strategy. And again, for those who may not know the full, where we're headed next, can you put this in context to what the next year would look like and what's coming?
Sure. Yeah. So, and forgive me because I don't have that resolution and the outline, memorized. Looks like Diana might be pulling it up.
Don't.
She's shuffling papers. Yeah. So essentially, we are starting, and again, I think Director Altamirano kind of prefaced this at kind of the easiest, right? Like the easiest tenant protections that we have identified through the UT law report that we can implement kind of without delay. Some of the subsequent recommendations are more complicated, right? Things like accepting partial rent payments, not evicting for non-rent balances, having an eviction prevention or eviction mitigation plan portfolio-wide. And so you can imagine as I'm kind of saying these things out loud, I'm kind of, my stomach is kind of, because it's a lot, right? And so it is going to need to be a collaborative effort kind of as we move through calendar year 2026. And I will say, with respect to the roundtable, folks are bringing unique ideas to the table about what they're doing within their capacity to implement. So,
Thank you.
yep.
Just a quick question. Do the other members of the roundtable publish their kind of standard terms or term sheets like Strategic does?
That is a great question. The Austin Housing Finance Corporation, I believe, is implementing a similar type of document. I have not seen it, but of course, all of their materials go before City Council, so they're a little
It's
bit more
largely part of
transparent.
their RHT
They go through
program.
RODA, exactly. They don't have an abatement.
Right. Yes. So HATC does for their PFC. I'm not certain
I'm not seeing
about
them for
TCHFC or HACA. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any further comments? Hearing none, we will proceed to a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carries unanimously.
I also have the next item, so I'm just going to stay here.
That works. The next item is a briefing introduction to CivicPlus. The chair recognizes Jim Ward.
Yes, good afternoon again. So I wanted to, CivicPlus this is a really exciting one. So yes, let me just, I recognize that we have a lot more to get through.
We have executive session after this.
And so CivicPlus, as you may or may not be aware, is a platform used by governmental agencies to manage various boards, commissions, councils, etc. We at Strategic have entered into a 2-year contract with CivicPlus for board meeting and agenda management. So you'll notice that the website looks a little bit different. The materials were sent out a little bit differently. You've got a strange email inviting you to click a link that you probably weren't anticipating. But those are all part of the implementation process of CivicPlus. And so we are confident at the staff level that CivicPlus will address some of the issues that have been identified. One, in terms of accessibility of board documents for the public, but also for board members, right? No longer will you have to search through large PDFs to access specific agenda items. You'll be able to kind of navigate directly to that agenda item. And again, just transparency and searchability for the general public. We have also identified a number of efficiencies for staff, which we are very excited about. But I think the headline here is access for the public and board efficiencies. And so, in addition to the board meetings, we're also planning to roll out CivicPlus use for committees in the coming weeks. And so that will look largely similar to what I'm going to show you today, which I will, on the next slide, you'll see how it's a little bit awkward, but we're going to get through it. And so this presentation is intended as a brief overview of the platform. And so the way that we have this structured is kind of, on the next slide, I'm going to play a video of myself talking, because a live demonstration of a website in a board meeting is a little, more risky in terms of technology. And so signing into the board portal, if you got that link and you did not click it, chances are if you try to click it now, it might not work. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Navigating agendas through the board portal and how to get to the board portal. And then when we come back here, I'll show you some links and resources that are available to you and that will be posted on the board portal for your review and posterity's sake. And so I am going to see how this works. Audio. No audio. No, it's going through.
When you share, there's an option to select include audio.
It's embedded in the PowerPoint.
Do you want to just talk through it?
If you stop sharing, reshare.
Yeah, so this will be available to you, of course, afterwards. But essentially, when you first navigate to the board portal, you can see here on the screen, you can access the portal through our website, much the same way that you would have accessed board resolutions previously. So you'll click on board portal. From there, it will prompt you to log in with your strategic HFC username. As I mentioned before, if you receive that link and did not click it, if you try to click it now, you may get an error saying that you're already registered. If you use the forget password function, you will be able to reset your password and should be able to access the platform. If you still have trouble, please reach out to me. I have admin access, and we can make sure that everyone leaves here today with access to the platform. And so once you have access, I'm just going to keep this playing so that we can kind of talk through it. But once you have logged into the site, you will encounter this page as your dashboard. And so you'll see right now there is a singular meeting up, today's meeting. This is private to you as a board member. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see agendas, minutes, notes, and media. Those will begin to be populated as we populate the system, of course. Once this meeting is over, minutes are prepared and uploaded to the system. You would be able to navigate minutes for every board meeting or every meeting using the minutes tab. One thing I would point out to board members is that if you use the notes feature to annotate PDFs, agendas, agenda items, those notes are yours and yours alone. No one else can see them, so we don't have to worry. You're not annotating a document that your peers can see, so just something to be aware of, and that is helpful for TOMA compliance. So it is really pretty straightforward. You'll notice at the top of the screen this filter icon, and once we have committees set up, you'll be able to filter by committee name or board meeting and date. Again, we're really hopeful that this will be efficient and a place for board members to go back with some ease to access prior materials and prepare for future events. If for some reason you are running late to a meeting, one thing I would highly recommend is that you do not use the public portal to download board materials as you're preparing for the meeting. You will not get confidential board materials such as executive session, backup, etc. So we really highly encourage you to log into the portal to access board materials. Of course, we will continue to provide them a day of, et cetera, but just in terms of your own preparation, there is
So as
a
we
little
used to
risk.
send separate emails with something that was confidential, now it'll be there, but we can determine whether it's public or not.
I did, so this is kind of just a sample of what you might see if you've ever visited the county commissioner's agenda management site. It will look familiar to you. It is essentially the exact same as what the county commissioner's court uses in terms of visual representation of the content. One thing I would point out about CivicPlus is that they have a great knowledge base or help center. And so this is, I'll just pause here for a second. So this is what you would see in the portal as part of a particular meeting, right? So if you wanted to go to the director's report and the financial report, you would be able to access much the same way that you would accessing it from the public site. But again, you have a little bit of a higher level view that you can annotate those documents, etc. If you get lost, you can go to the knowledge base or the help center. They have an AI agent. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about AI, but I will say in this context, it is quite helpful to navigate the extensive resources that they have hosted on their website. And so you can actually type in board orientation, and it will take you to a board portal user guide that has like 30 resources in it that should help navigate any, anything that you would encounter as you're using the platform. That said, we would also, like to. How do I stop doing this now? Offer. Sorry, everybody. Maybe this wasn't easier than doing a live website.
Hit the left and scroll down and see if.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, again, this will be posted on the portal, but again, you can access the portal from the website. The Help Center is linked here, but then also a public portal, all accessible from our website or the portal itself. If you have access with your user account, you can reach out to me directly. If you have access with the board portal content, like a meeting, you're not able to find a specific item that you're looking for, Jenny would be the person to reach out to. And then if you have an issue with website integration, like something doesn't look like what you think it should on the website, please feel free to reach out to Kevin, and he can help troubleshoot that. One thing I would point out is that we have posted all of the historic materials on the CivicPlus portal, so you can actually go back in time using the CivicPlus portal and look at specific meetings, the slides, the agendas, the agenda packets. Resolutions, however, are still a work in progress, and so resolutions are bundled together. For the time being, if you need to access a prior resolution, you can use the resolutions button on our strategic HFC website.
The sort of previous version.
The previous version.
I will say we still have some issues with the
Correct.
searchability of archived information because we didn't do it in this. So we're working out a few kinks. Go ahead, Jim, I'm sorry.
I mean, I think that's the extent of my.
Yeah.
Of my
I would just say we went through it fairly quickly. I think outside of the facility, for us to not be sort of DIYing this back of house, for you, the ability to go to an agenda item, read the item summary, which was, it will look kind of like the cover sheets that we have been utilizing for items, and then decide which of the background you want to review as separate documents rather than sort of looking at a 175-page board book. We hope will be helpful, but certainly let us know how it's going.
Any questions or comments from directors?
Over there was first, and then Ms. Rose, but thank you. I'll be 3 on the queue. Madam
Thank you.
Just a quick question. I want to make sure I heard you correctly that it will, when you say meetings, it will be more than board meetings, committee agendas, committee documents, committee slideshows will all be there, but they're not there now.
Correct. And I think one thing I did not mention when I stated that is that those are not subject to TOMA, and they will not be published publicly. They will be available to you
Through the portal.
in the board portal.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Thank you.
Dr. Gross.
I was just gonna comment that it's great. Like, I used it for this meeting, and it was just very easy to navigate to the topic, the files, everything. So,
Awesome.
love it.
Thank you. So as a board member, yeah, hooray. But as you know, as a former Open Austin guy when I was a baby here in Austin, and as someone that very much hopes to pass, that's right, Kitty Adams, with open data policy, I'm thinking about our public users, and the fact that they can do the individual line items is so much user friendly. The things are going to be more fresh as gray search. I have two questions related to that. As a civic heavy user of platforms, one is, so we have not yet become transcriptable, right? There are no text-based transcripts of our meetings. There are. Where are the text-based?
They accompany the YouTube videos.
Oh,
Yes.
That's the thing. So that was my second question, which is, so as you know, Austin has like Swagit and ATXN. The court has what the court does, and there's an integration between the media and the transcript and the.
Good point.
What this is? Whoa! Before we write anything down,
No.
Before anything down, this is not guidance.
Question.
This is not a request. This is an observation, everybody. Let's hold our horses. It's an observation. And I was like, the tool presents itself in a way that it makes me feel like, oh, it's like the tool that I've used before.
Yes.
And then I'm like, well, but how do I get to the self-enclosed video? Where's my transcript? The transcript, I will just say, we are not one of the most heavily used or scrutinized of the public enterprises. But having the text of what we say available out there, I think is going to be very important in terms of transparency. It's certainly something I'd like to see us make progress towards. I don't know if there's a way to do that. It sounds like if we are already getting transcripted through YouTube's internal functionality, there might be a way. Just something to consider.
So I'm glad you brought that up. There is now on our website an embedded video player.
The media meeting player, is that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so one thing I don't know offhand is whether or not the live transcription functionality, I believe, it may just be like a switch that needs to be flipped to.
No, it works.
Is it working now, like on the embedded video?
On history, yeah, I go
Well,
way back. Yeah.
We have the transcripts on the YouTube videos. What I don't know is, like, if
Civic
you're
Plus.
searching,
Right.
if you search in CivicPlus for,
Tenant protection.
Jim Ward,
Yeah.
what you're going to get is agenda and documents. But since the transcript historically has been attached to YouTube, will it search that? So we'll look into it.
We'll look into it, and
Yeah.
I think a process we may have that makes sure that we're not, being reactive and wasting anybody's time is maybe through the open data policy conversation saying, here are our actual goals as an enterprise, how we get are there resources, blah, blah. Now, if there's just like some switches and it's easy and it's just everybody's happy, something to consider. But I do think we want to, part of being the best HFC in Texas is being the best at this kind of stuff. The HFC sets a high bar in some ways and not such a high bar in other ways. So it's something that's important for me for this year to kind of put in the right process lane, because I do think it'll be, I think in a few years, if we're not there, it will be a weird outlier that will cause us more problems than it's worth. I think people's expectations of content availability are going to change. I'm so excited about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions? Great. We'll now move into executive session. The time is 12:53. Do we have lunch?
There is lunch if directors would like to step into a kitchen that has running water. You feel free to get lunch.
We will reconvene at 1 o'clock. And there is no further agenda items, and adjournment is we're anticipating to adjourn when we return.
Yeah.
All right. There is no further business. The meeting is adjourned at 1:49 p.m.